Hey, good morning, everybody. It is great to be back with y'all. I'm Phil Friedman for Friedman Adventures, and welcome to the morning briefing. We have got so much to go over with you. Biting tuna down there in San Diego is close as 26 miles from Point Loma. That is awesome. Down in Ensenada, that south swell seems to be pushing more yellowfin tuna in there. We continue to see excellent local fishing, and now the sea bass are starting to bite. We've got it all for you here this morning. Great to be with you. Thanks again for joining us. It's always such a pleasure to spend a little time with you, and I deeply appreciate you taking time out of your busy morning or day to spend some time with all of us. Hope you got that hot cup of coffee early this morning, because let's get into it. There is so much exciting news. First of all, Wednesday night, we are departing on board the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro on a 2-day trip. Man, oh man, I am so excited. Our weather looks perfect. There is some biting sea bass going on. The limit goes up to 3 on the white sea bass. Big Fish Bait and Tackle sponsoring the trip. Blacktail Hooks, they provided hooks for every single person on board. Daiwa also on board with us, and Opsin Fluorocarbon. I can't thank you all enough for your constant support. It means so much to me. And all of you out there who keep our stats going in that direction, I'm humbled and I'm thankful to each and every one of you. All right, let's talk albacore. I know you think I'm delusional. I know you think that I predict albacore every year. This is the second year that I predicted albacore, so calm down, everybody, all right? And we're still predicting albacore. Now, yesterday I mentioned that a gentleman came on our YouTube channel, left a comment and said, you know, Phil, when we get good Barracuda years, that's when we see the albacore. So this is by no means a good Barracuda year yet. There was some significant progress made yesterday, and we'll see if we build on it here today. But Tommy Holland reminded me that we had talked about this before, Tommy and I, and he said that Georgie Mio, who used to run the new Hustler 2, just said you can take that to the bank. We get good local Barracuda, and shortly thereafter you see the albacore. Those long fins push in here. Remember Bob Osborne, if you haven't watched that yet, go back and watch it. Bob goes through why it looks like the highway for the albacore into the West Coast is open. There's fish being taken on the urban bank. Tommy will have more information about that as we go through the week, and we'll continue to watch it. But when there's fish on the urban bank, they normally end up here in Baja or SoCal. So that is all looking really, really good, and we're just gonna keep our fingers crossed. Hey, speaking of the new Hustler 2, I hope you don't mind if I just tell you this quick little story, but I was a deckhand on board the Grande, probably late 70s, 80s, something like that, with John Dipley running the boat. And we had another guy on the boat who wasn't the most reliable guy, let's put it that way, okay? And he was on the wheel, and we were heading out of San Pedro, going to Clemente, as I remember, going to San Clemente Island, and Dipley and I were beat, so we were trying to get some sleep. Craig was on the wheel, and for whatever reason, both Dipley and I woke up like at the same time, and we looked, and we could see we were bearing down on the new Hustler 2. We were rolling right up his stern. I mean, I don't know how much longer it would have been before we made contact with him. And Craig was, or pardon me, this guy, and it'll be hard to figure out who that is, but this guy was passed out, done, gone. And Dipley wakes up, and he's furious, but more he's excited, scared. And he yells at Craig, "Craig, what are you doing?" And he kind of wakes up, and John grabs the wheel, pulls back, and spins the wheel, and just, you know, we spin out of it, probably, 100 yards, as I remember, from the new Hustler 2. And Craig says to John, "I didn't think we were that close." And John says, "Craig, when you can read captain's quarters, keep out. You're too damn close." Man, that was something else. There was so many, that was crazy. Thank God Dipley and I both woke up, and neither one of us got any sleep after that. All right, down there in Ensenada, let's start down there. We'll talk about it because there's still bluefin tuna down there. That south swell forcing more warm water up here is starting to warm things up. So we have a scenario where we have cooler water offshore, albacore type water, and inshore we got that hot water. where I think you're going to see a progression of yellowfin, dorado, more yellowtail on the kelps as time goes by. You'll see that fish start to move up the Baja Peninsula into Southern California waters also, but that is looking exceptionally good at this point in time. And the pongeros down there still trolling around with the Mad Max and scoring nice bluefin tuna. We've had friends down there who've crossed the border, gone down, fished with their favorite pongeros, and they've come up with some really excellent scores here recently with that smattering of yellowfin tuna starting to get in there also. So really great news and high hopes that this is going to continue to develop. We've had those years in the past. Tommy Holland will tell you, a lot of old guys will tell you like me, where you have that warm water on the coast, so you've got that smorgasbord of yellowtail and dorado and yellowfin tuna, warm water species in there, and then offshore you have albacore. So you literally come out of Point Loma and say, what do I want to do now? Go down the coast, or do I want to go out there and catch some albae? So we'll see if that all pans out or if I'm just nuts as usual. We'll keep our eyes on it for you very closely. San Diego had gone through this little phase here recently where the fish, the bluefin, we were seeing tons of it, but it was not biting. That has all changed. It's on the chew right now. It's starting to bite again, and it's looking very, very good. And what the heck is up with the grande? They keep coming up with these exotic fish. The other day a luvar, and now they get an oil fish on board the grande. 20 bluefin tuna and an escolar, kind of an unusual catch. Once again, they have been really doing well on board the grande. They have seen fish as close as 30 miles from the point, and that is looking really, really good. And this fish is starting to bite. Variety of sizes. I'll mention tackle to you here in a moment, but anywhere from, you get some 18 pounders, but most of it's 40 to 100, but I would say 40 to almost 200. There are some nice fish. Pacific Queen, a one-day trip, just excellent fishing. 33 bluefin to a $160, 160 pounds, big fat ones. There are times when the casualty rates are really high, and the reason why is that you're not tackled up properly. So make sure that you are tackled up properly to get the job done. 23 guys on the Liberty, 18 bluefin, doesn't even tell the tale. They hooked so many fish, lost so many fish. It was really excellent. 40 to 50 pound fly line outfit. You want to have that ready to go. Fluorocarbon leader. We like optionusa.com. optionusa.com. Put in FA at checkout, and you'll get a free gift as well as a note from Greg Brown. You also want to have a rod with 80 to 100 pound, 2-speed reel. 2 to 300 gram lures seem to be working best. You can have some of that lighter stuff also, but right now those flat fall cicanas, knife jigs get down fast. You want to have some heavier stuff along with you. In terms of sinker fish, working very well right now. 4 to 10 ounce torpedoes, I would have that. You definitely want to have that along with you, and be prepared with some heavy tackle and a variety in terms of hook size. You also want to do that. There are some kelp patty yellowtail. There's a little bit of yellowfin tuna wandering around this zone, and it's looking good. How about the day on the San Diego, a boat that leaves Seaforth sport fishing at 5:30 in the morning and catches tuna? I mean, it's mind-boggling. I'm never, ever, I promise you, I'm never, ever going to take this for granted. It's such a blessing. San Diego yesterday, 46 bluefin tuna fishing on that trip that leaves in the morning and heads out there and is back in the evening. We've got 3 of those trips on board the Malahini this year, and I highly recommend you book now before it is too late. You book that on Malahini, sportfishing.com. We have a trip in July, August, and September. Prime time when that warm water should be out there. It should be a lot of fun, and I'll put the links to those trips in the description of today's morning briefing, so you'll be able to book really, really easy and join us for one of those great trips. Several boats with great fishing, looking good down there in San Diego, close to home. There's fish further down the Baja Peninsula. Not sure about further out to the west, but there seems to be a good spread. I mean, they're seeing copious amounts of fish, and it's biting again. The light switch is on, and that's good news. And maybe the light switch is going to go on everywhere. It just seems to be doing that right now. Let me take you through some islands right now. Todos Santos, right off of Ensenada. Once again, nothing great, few yellows out there. Most guys driving by the islands, they're after that yellowfin, they're after that bluefin. And by the way, there's not a ton of yellowfin yet. It's just a few fish starting to slide in there. So we'll keep our eyes on it, but just for now, some good lingcod fishing, bass fishing, that kind of a thing going on. Coronado Islands, similar, nothing wide open, really down there. A few yellows being taken. Hopefully the islands will perk up, but similar. I mean, everybody's driving by the islands. 26 miles, 30 miles, and you're into these trophy bluefin. Who in the heck is going to mess around at the Coronado Islands? Plus, you need a passport and blah, 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 blah. So nothing really to write home about. San Clemente Island, picking at the yellowtail. Really good bass and bonita fishing. Light switch is almost on. It's almost on. Talked to Mark Paisano from the Amigo, and he says, Phil, things are really improving in terms of conditions. It's looking really, really good. It can't be, he said, much longer before the yellows go off there. There's some sea bass, there's some halibut. Most of the sport boats have been really scratching out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Marklin over there on the Thunderbird, Tino Valentine on the Freedom, or somebody comes up with a big score here in the next 48 hours. I am really keeping my fingers crossed. Let me just group Santa Barbara Island, San Nicolas Island together and tell you there is some conking going on in some of those areas at those islands on sea bass and halibut. There's squid nests there. The weather, that's the big thing. You get a weather opportunity and you get a chance. We're going to have a little bit of weather and then it's going to lay down. And Thursday is going to be a gorgeous day for us on the Amigo. So we've got several options available to us. We'll be watching it all very, very closely for you up in the Channel Islands. Well, I hope you saw David Baez from Best Fishing in Hawthorne, California. Go back and watch that if you didn't. And all you guys who are on the Amigo, or any of you guys who are heading to the islands fishing white sea bass, 2 rigs were really important. Dropper loop with fluorocarbon, anywhere from, I want to say 6, 8, 10-ounce torpedo sinkers. Those are the kinds of sinkers you want to bring on our Amigo trip, for example. I've got your hooks all taken care of, courtesy of Sky over there at Best Fishing, Shale Fishing Tackle, who is supplying us all, every one of us, with blacktail hooks, some glow-in-the-dark hooks also seemingly working very good. And at times, the sliding egg sinker rig worked really well. Variety of sliding egg sinkers, and you should be in good shape. And you'll be able to catch sea bass when we're in the short water, even halibut in the short water with those lighter sinkers. And, you know, if we end up fishing rockfish, sheep's head, whitefish, all of that, you'll be able to fish with that gear. And that, I'm telling you, I will be so tempted to fish if we start catching those big goats and all of that. I love that kind of fishing. So the island's looking very, very good right now. Hopefully it's going to kick into gear. Now, Channel Islands, hit and miss on the sea bass. There's some really good conking that's been going on, but also there's been some misses. Aloha Spirit's been having really good calico bass fishing here recently, waiting for that sea bass explosion. Hopefully that is going to get going. And locally, well, the Island Spirit with Cody Rogers, who is a super great captain out of Ventura Sport Fishing. He's all set to go on Wednesday. They're going to have beautiful weather by then. They're going to get a little blow before that, but Wednesday's going to be gorgeous. Along the beach, they're picking at sand bass and calico bass. Looks like it could go. Some halibut going on in that neck of the woods. That whole region looks like it's ready. And then copious amounts of rockfish, mostly whitefish. Really, really good fishing. Cody Rogers, Island Spirit, don't miss him on Wednesday. Looks like he's going to have a light load. 805-676-3474. Say hi to Saul if he answers the phone, and say hi to Cody. Give him my best. Don't miss his great podcast. He'll explain a lot about what is going on in the Channel Islands. So we'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely. Let me take you up and down the coast, starting down there in Ensenada. They're catching more and more barracuda off an area called University Point, very close to Ensenada. Many of you know that area. Calico bass along the kelp lines. Puna Banda, really good calico bass fishing. A little cooler on the water down that way, but that is starting to happen with those fish starting to spawn. That is all coming together. San Diego local, pretty good on the bass also. occasional big yellowtail down there up around Dana, more and more sand bass and calico bass starting to bite. But right out here, I'm telling you, somewhere out there, it's really turning on. Could be another big day today. It looks like, kind of almost like a throwback to when it was really good. I'm not going to get too carried away, but it looks good. I mean, we were on the Judith Ann the other day, 64.5-degree water everywhere, calico bass flipping out of the water, small barracuda flipping out of the water, had constant action, really good fishing for Eddie Leland and a father and son team. They were so much fun to fish with. Ryan and Alec and Tom Durr doing his usual fine work running that Judith Ann, and I highly recommend it. If you want to go out and catch some local bass with 4 of your best friends or enemies, give 22nd Street Landing or Tom a call, and you can jump out there on board the Judith Ann and have a lot of fun. Light line, definitely the key in that bite. You want to fish light stuff, it makes all the difference in the world. Hey, if you want to get on the Judith Ann, you can call Tom and talk to him also. I was looking for his phone number here before he kills me. 310-877-1257. You can jump on board and get out and catch some fish. All right, great fishing on board the Enterprise. Mitch calling it in. Limits of bass, mostly sand bass, limits of sculpin. Talk about going home with a lot of great eating fish. And then later on in the day, 40 barracuda. Is this the barracuda bite that we've been waiting for, that perhaps portends albacore, that perhaps portends great local fishing for some time to come? That is a very good sign. I said that we'd have a big barracuda bite by the end of the weekend, so I missed it by one day, but really good signal. City of Long Beach, 18 barracuda, several other boats, Sport King, these local guys all over the bass right now. Mostly sand bass, but there's a lot of calicos, as we saw the other day. And this local barracuda, that is great news. Good to see that. Those are iron biters. They love to bite the iron. I love a Tatty 45 on those gar, as they really love to tear it up. High tide here on the beach today around 10:30, and I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of corvina on the beaches as these coastal waters warm up. Sand crabs plentiful, sandworms plentiful. Those are both great natural baits. They live here, so the fish are used to them. You can get a lot of bites on that. You want to fish light line, bring a trout rod down, and low tide is a great time to catch corvina. You can get it done in a big, big way, and it's looking very good. Also, yellowfin croaker, we see fish up the beach here. We see fish down at Bolsa Chica. We see fish further down around Dana, some halibut being taken on the Lucky Crafts in that neck of the woods. Further up in the Channel Island area, I'm talking Ventura, they're still catching bar perch, and more yellowfin croaker starting to get into the counts as the water warms. You'll see that as they'll come in to spawn also, and that'll get going. Grunion Run on the 16th, and of course that's a magnet that brings a lot of fish. I am so tempted, maybe gonna do it. I'm so tempted to come out here at high tide, dig up some sandworms and toss it out there and see if I can't provide you with some good surf fishing action here on Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. All right, everybody, exciting times. I cannot wait till Wednesday night to see you guys on board the Amigo. Those of you who will be joining us, should be an absolutely fantastic trip. And of course, we've got all kinds of action and all kinds of things to keep tabs on, including albacore, bluefin tuna, yellowfin tuna, yellows on kelps, and that warm water with that cooler water offshore just presents the perfect scenario. All right, everybody, I can't thank you enough for joining us. If you do me a favor, hit that like button. That helps us a lot. You'd like to make a comment on our YouTube channel, that is always deeply appreciated. And for all of you who are members of the Friedman Adventures family, I humbly say thank you so much for your great support, and I'll see you again really, really soon.